Hi guys, Renee again, back with another video, probably annoying all of you guys, but I get a lot of reception from you all when I do post a video. I feel like I can cover off a lot more and get a lot more across, and you guys can, I guess, see me as a person, how I talk, how I react, and I guess how I am as a person, so I'm kind of enjoying doing it at the moment. I did want to, first of all, thank everybody for the reception I got for the last video that I did. I was a bit nervous about posting it. I didn't know how people were going to take to it, but I got a lot of support. So for everybody who was nice, kind, left an opinion, whatever, paid attention to it, watched it, I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you for not too many nasty people as well. It was just my honest, open opinion, and I guess my view and my story. So I'm glad you all enjoyed me sharing it. Something from that video that's been really interesting that I wanted to cover off with you guys as well, to give you guys a bit more of an insight, is so many people messaged me after that video saying, oh, you know, congratulations, like it's so good that you have made a living outside of racing and that you're able to move on. Lots of people have sort of said basically that it's so good that I've managed, or somehow the way they say it is that I've managed to have a life and create a life and have a living and you know, be happy outside of racing. What people don't know is, first of all, that was 3 years ago, almost 4. So I think I didn't just stop racing and like now I'm here. Like, I've lived a life. It's been 3 years. Like, think about how much you've achieved and how much you've done in 3 years. It should be a lot. I have done so much in 3 years since I stopped racing. It's not funny. The amount of things I have done, the people I've met, the places I've gone. I've had like 3 different jobs. I've moved state. Like, I have literally done so much in that time. I'm somebody who was always trying to propel myself forward. So for 3 years for me, I have like achieved so much, it's not funny. And a lot of people sort of forget that it's been 3 years. I think my followers, because they are such big racing fans, they think that like motorsport is like the pinnacle, right? Like, they think if the shoe was on their foot, if they were to race V8 supercars full time, that's like their dream. And I think they can't look past the fact that potentially someone else might not have the same view on it. A lot of people think that if they were to not be racing, they see it as like a downgrade, or, you know, that maybe life can't be better not doing something so cool like that. That's not me at all. Like, I personally, I think some of the best stuff and the stuff that's made me into the woman that I am today, I learnt while I was racing. But now I can honestly say, in the last 3 years that I haven't been racing, I think I actually have learnt a lot. I think I have grown more than I ever would have when I was racing. I think I personally have achieved a lot more personally, like growth, like deep within, like happiness, you know, how I look at myself, how I look at life, how I look at business and work, and how I earn money and wealth and success. I have learnt so much ever since I stopped racing, and I have achieved so much ever since I've stopped racing. A lot of people think that racing was the pinnacle of my life, but I'm going to say that it's probably not anymore. Like, I have done a lot more, and I am a lot more happier, and every day I feel a lot more success and like warmth inside of me than I ever did when I was racing. And a lot of people, they don't know my journey, and they don't see that side of things. But racing is not the highlight of my life anymore. It's not the best thing that's ever happened to me anymore. I have, believe it or not, had better things personally. For someone else, racing, you know, cars around Bathurst might be the absolute fucking pinnacle of their life, but for me, it's not. Like, I have done better and done more than race a car around Bathurst. And a lot of people too, they always come to me like, oh, you know, you're out of racing or whatever, like, you know, do you miss sort of the attention, you know, surely you got paid well, rah, rah, rah. Like, I didn't make a living from motorsport. That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. I didn't get paid to race. Even though I had a semi-high profile in racing, I didn't get paid like some of the high profile races. I raced for 6 years of my life and didn't earn a penny. I was getting paid X amount of dollars, a couple $100,000 a year to race. My sponsors were paying that to my race teams. So my race team might have cost $100,000, well, not that, way more than that. It was about $400,000 to race, and my sponsors gave that money, and it went directly to the team. So while I was racing, I actually had to earn an income and live and put food in my mouth and a roof over my head. And while that seems easy, I don't have a rich family who can supply me that sort of stuff or support me. I didn't have a family at the time that I was close with. I wasn't living at home. I wasn't talking to my dad. I had a very broken family. I still do. I had to do it on my own. And what a lot of people don't realize is when I was at a race meeting, I actually would be racing and I would have like $0 in my bank account. Like, I was a fucking broke bitch. Let me tell you, it's tricky to have a job and earn income when what you want is basically like a full-time job but doesn't pay you. So between the races and the test days and everything, you know, I had about 10 weeks a year where I had to race. Then I had sponsorship stuff on top of that, which was really quite difficult because when I had such high-profile sponsors like I did, I was always going to events. To put it into perspective for you guys, up until like 3 years ago, I never paid tax. Like, I literally earned under $18,000, I think it is, for the whole time I was racing. Like, I was a broke fucking bitch, let me tell you. Like, I could not, like, I remember going into Woolworths, like, on a weekly basis and having to steal stuff because I couldn't afford to eat. Like, that's how broke I was. I've literally had weeks where I had $0 in my bank account. I literally couldn't have breakfast. I couldn't eat sometimes because I had no money. And a lot of people find that hard to believe, but it's true. Like, anybody who knows me, knows my journey, knows that I used to be a fucking poor person. It's hard because I was working. I did driver training towards the end, but for example, I would go away driver training and I would earn, you know, pretty good money. It was really good money on a day rate. I might earn $2,000 for a week or so's worth of work, but I might have another race in a week's time, but there might not be another block of work on until another week's time when I'm away racing. And then after that, it might be weeks until I can work again. So I might earn $2,000 in 2 weeks, but I might not actually work for another 4 weeks because of my schedule. And I might have to go, you know, to a sponsor's event, or I might have to do something, or a test day or something. I physically can't work because I have to do this stuff for racing. So a lot of people don't realize that I had to sacrifice work and income for the main goal, which was to race and hopefully eventually make it and then earn money. But for me, it was a constant juggling act of being able to go away and make my sponsors happy and do all these things, but also have a living. Like, I can say, like, there were times where I had like overdue phone bills. I always managed to pay rent. That was my biggest thing. But, you know, I literally would have overbill like electricity bills. I can't even explain. I literally had bills and things that I couldn't pay, and I had to wait until I didn't have racing and I could work, earn a bit of money, and then pay everything. So a lot of people think because I was in the limelight that I earned lots of money, and because I was on TV and all this sort of stuff that I made money, but I didn't. I have made like triple, quadruple the amount of money I ever made in that period of time. You know, I didn't have family that I could rely on, so there was a lot of times where my manager would lend me money. He would let me to come over. I would have dinner at his house. Sometimes he would lend me $50 because I didn't have any money. Sometimes if I sent an invoice and it didn't get paid straight away, I went 2 or 3 days without any money, so I'd have to ask money. Sometimes I would sell things like a pair of shoes or something to be able to afford to eat. And then there were times where I'd be at a race meeting and, you know, people would be like, oh, like, you know, you're so lucky to do all of this. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, you know, I've got all these bills to pay. Like, I literally had, like, there were times where I went to a sponsorship event with one of my sponsors, and I got there and the hotel was in Sydney. The hotel asked me if I could leave $100 bond or hold on the room, and I didn't have $100. Like, I literally only had like 50 cents in my bank account, and I actually had to call my sponsor who put me there for the night and turn around and just say, hey, I'm so sorry, but they want me to put a hold on the room, and like, I can't afford it. Like, I don't have $100 to put down. And so they had to come down and actually lend me money. So don't believe what you see on social media and stuff like that, just because, you know, racing for some people is like this big thing. It might not be that for somebody else. Just because some guys who watch racing, it's their absolute dream to race a car around Bathurst and their life would be complete. My life's not complete. I have a lot more I want to do and achieve in my life, and racing a little tin car around Bathurst is definitely not the end of it for me. I hope that I can achieve a lot more than that. I feel like I have achieved a lot more than that, and I hope that I can achieve a lot more. I'm only 24. I think that I have a long way to go. And a lot of people too think that because you know, you got a big following and you see someone on TV that they're earning money. That's not the case at all. Some super high profile people might, but not a lot of people do. So I just want a lot of people to think and to know that maybe what they see isn't, I guess, perception isn't reality. And yeah, to know that when I was racing, like some of you, if you ever met me, if you ever saw me in those years that I was in Porsche or development series, like I was a fucking broke bitch. But I didn't care because the ultimate goal was to eventually get into racing and to earn money. But it obviously didn't work out and I've moved the fuck on. So I don't think that I made a living out of racing, because I didn't. I am a lot more successful now in my own eyes than I ever was back then. So a bit of an update for you guys. I went from fucking being broke to now not being broke. So I hope that gives you guys a bit of a insight into racing. That's not the situation for everybody, but that's what it was for me.